Hi there, my name is Kamal Kumar Sharma, and today I'm going to show you how to create or the how to communicate, how to install the forwarder, Splunk forwarder on the Windows machine so that we can forward the Windows events towards the Splunk Enterprise server for the further analysis. For this operation, we will verify if our Splunk services are running and we will start the Splunk service first. Let me log in. So I already logged into my Splunk machine. If you see, I am on the under the op directory under Splunk under bin directory. I am working in the bin directory. So in the bin directory, we will just start the Splunk service. For this, we need we give a command sudo dot slash Splunk and then Splunk start. Provide the password and it should be okay. So it says the Splunk web interface is at this, means Splunk interface is already been running. So at any point of time, I can access my Splunk enterprise from this interface. This is the URL. This is the URL given provided to us by the Splunk enterprise. Let's see if we can access it through this URL. I just copy and paste. It said the site cannot be reached because this name is not registered in my DNS server. So instead of a name, what we can do, we can use the IP address. HTTP 192.168.10.203 colon 8000. This is the IP address of my Splunk machine. Yep, I already logged in. I saved my username and password, so we are directly logged in. Otherwise, it would have been asked the username and password. So for this, let me show you once more. Just log out. Here the screen. After login, we'll find this screen. Just put your username, Splunk admin. My username is Splunk admin, and give the password and log in. So let's verify if certain things which need to be enabled are available for us or not. So for this, what we need to configure our receiver. So go to the settings and under the data option, just click on the forwarding and receiving option. Under the forwarding and receiving, we are not going to forward data, we are going to receive the data. So in the receiving the data, we need to configure the receiving. If receiving port is not configured, we can configure it from here. Now, as you can see, my default receiving port is 9997. I already created one more receiving port, that's 9998. At any point of time, we can delete this any port which is not required. If we need to create a new receiving port, we can go and create the new receiving port from here. So presently, I'm not going to make any changes here. Just verify that's from where data is coming. Means I'm going to look for my forwarder management. So forwarder management is showing me there is nothing, no server class, no client has been added here. This is from the previous informations. Let's go and check once more. We'll go and then we can select add data. Add data, we can add the data from the different utilities. Like we can access it from the cloud computing, from networking. So means you will get the networking data to the Splunk platform. Operating system, get your operating system data into the Splunk platform. Security, security data to the Splunk platform. And to get the data in with that following method, we can upload a file, a log file. We can do the monitoring and we can check the forward. So we are using the Splunk forwarder. So in this case, we need to add the data from the Splunk forwarder. If you can see, we won't be able to see any Splunk forwarder available here. So Splunk forwarders are the forwarder or the software which are responsible for fetching the data and guiding the data, fetching the data from Windows machine and guiding the data towards the Splunk. our Splunk server for the analysis purpose or the different purposes. So here, what we can do, I do not have any forwarder. So first we need to install Splunk Forwarder app as we are going to work with the Windows machine. So we are going to install the Splunk Forwarder app on our Windows machine. Let's jump to the Windows machine. So I have this Windows machine available already installed. This is my domain controller. I'm just logging to the domain controller first. Let's verify if Splunk Forwarder app is already been installed here or not. Just go to the control panel and see the programs and features. We can see we have only Microsoft Edge and Oracle Virtual Machine guest editions are available. So we do not have any Splunk Forwarder installed here. Let's install the Splunk Forwarder. I downloaded it from the Splunk site. It is available in my downloads folder. So this is the Splunk Forwarder 9.4.0. So just install it. When we start, right click and install. So it will first ask us the Splunk Universal Forwarder licenses here. And on-premises Splunk Enterprise, yes, I am going to work with the on-premises, so I will select the Splunk on-premises Splunk Enterprise instance here. Next, provide a username. I am using the same user. You can provide the different name as well. Splunk admin and provide a password. Admin at 123. This is my password for the testing purpose. Next, this is the deployment server. So if you deploy the server to configure the universal forwarder, if you want to use a deployment server. So deployment server, we use the same server IP address 192.168.10.203 where my Splunk Enterprise is running. If it is configured on the domain, we can provide the domain name here. If it is configured under DNS, we can provide the DNS name here. This is the default port for the Splunk Universal Forwarder. Next, now receiving indexer. So receiving indexer means our intention is to use the Splunk receiving indexer so that we can configure the universal forwarder. So we have a default port available. If we want to change the port, first we need to add the port into our Splunk forwarder as previously I showed on the Splunk web page. So host name will be the our IP address of our Splunk server. Because I'm not using the DNS name, so I'm using the IP address here. And port number is similar, 9997. Next, it seems to be okay. Just click install. So the application registration, new file application registration, directory size, everything will be launched here. So we'll see. It will take a minute or two to complete the universal forwarder information here. So once it is configured on the Windows machine, then we will go to the Splunk web page. We will access the Splunk through the web browser and then we will configure our data store there from where we are fetching the data because Splunk Forwarder, it creates a bridge between our source server means from where we are fetching the logs or events and the destination server which is our Splunk server here. So just finish. Now let's jump to our Splunk server. Let me close this. Let me reopen. I can go and work with this reopen. Now surprisingly when we go to the settings and add data, it will check from where we want to add the data. I want the data from the Splunk forwarder because we configure the Splunk forwarder. We install the Splunk forwarder on our Windows machine. Let's click on the forward. So we should see the Splunk forwarder here. So Splunk Forwarder will give us the information from where we are going to fetch the data. That virtual machine, that machine can be the physical machine, can be the virtual machine. So this process of registration of our machine into the Splunk forwarder and be visible here, it takes couple of minutes. So it will take around 5 to 6 minutes. So in the meantime, what I'm going to do, I'm just pausing the video. So as soon as we will get our machine here, we will start the video. See you in some time. Thank you. Hi there. Welcome back. Now we can see our virtual machine, our machine is available here. This was the machine where we installed our Splunk forwarder. Now what we need to do is here, we need to create a server class to identify for the data input. So which type of data, from where we are fetching the data, for this we need to create a server class. We can create a new server class, or if already existing there is a server class, we can use the existing server class. As you can see, we do not have any server class. So what we can do, click on new, select available host. If we have multiple hosts, we can add all, or if we have single host, click here. It should be add to the selected host box here. Now given the server class name, I can give option Win server, because I want to identify, like, okay, I am fetching the data is related to the Windows server. Now click on the next here. If this is not available, we cannot move to the next. So click on the next here, and we will see the select source from where we are fetching the data. Again, this process takes some time. I want to fetch some events which are being available, like from the event viewer in our server, Windows server. I want to fetch those events here. So that option is still not visible to me. I just wanted to see that option. So that option will be taking some time for the display. Let me check it out. If ups and downs, anything is related here. Configure modular. No, I'm not able to see that event viewer option. Events and logs. The option called the events and logs, so that we can check it out. We can select that option from here. Let's go back. So till now, what is happening here? The communication is going on, but I think the proper synchronization has not been finished between the Splunk forwarder VM, Splunk forwarder machine, and the Splunk enterprise machine. So let's give it a couple of minutes, like say, give it a 5 more minutes, and then we will refresh it to see if event viewer option, event and logs options are available here or not. So till that time, for the 5 minutes, I'm just pausing my video. As soon as that option will be available, we will continue. Thank you. Hi there, welcome back. Now you can see it took some time to show up the local event logs here. So this is the easiest way, like where we can configure, we can check the logs. Just click on the log event logs here. So we can work on this part here, like we need to select the event logs. So when we are talking about the event logs, when we are selecting, just we can select a specific event log, or we can select all the event logs. Let me install or select all the event logs here. We selected all the event logs. So I guess screen size is a little bit small here, so it is not showing me complete details. Fine, we selected all the options. Just jump to the input settings. Here, we are going to create an index. So index means here when we are configuring the index, it means we can identify the incoming data by a name, so that whenever we are running a query, we can give the index name on that query, so that we will get the appropriate output. There are a couple of default indexes are available, so we can use some default indexes where we want to add our output should be displayed from any one of these, or it's always a good idea, like we should create a new index, because our index is for the Windows server. So I can give win svrind. Provide a name here. So index data type will be events. Let's everything is okay. Don't make any changes. Just click on the save button. So index is available with SVR index. Review. Now we are happy that our server class has been created. You remember on the first step we gave the name of the server class, and this is our machine from where we are fetching the data and which type of events we are going to work with. So we are fetching the event logs from application, forwarded events, security, setup and system. Our index name is WinSVR index. So this from the WinSVR index we will be able to fetch the data from our machine. Let's submit. I guess we are okay. So far so good. So we configure, you see local event logs input has been created successfully. That's wonderful. We are happy with this part. Click start search. It will take us to the search toolbar. You see here, it is asking, it is telling me, giving the command, okay, what is my source? My source is, I'm looking for the Windows event logs. Our index is WinSVR index. I click it here. If it fetches some logs, it will show all the logs here. Let me delete this one and then we can simply search from here. Index equal to we can give our index name Win. You see our index name is Win SVR index and we will see that data here. So once it will start fetching the data, definitely the data will appear here and we can see our data available in our scene here. So this is the way how we can configure the forwarders. Windows Splunk forwarder on Windows machine. Now you see I just give a command, couple of refreshes and then it start fetching the data. And then we can analyze this data, different activities, what it is going on, see what are event code, everything on which machine, from which system, what are we getting here. So all these operations can be done easily here. So this is a small part of our like where we can show how we can configure the Windows the Splunk forwarder. So the Splunk forwarder can push that data from a machine to the Splunk system, to the Splunk Enterprise SIEM system, so that for the further analysis. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you very much. Bye bye.